Hello everyone. This is part 2 on elements of landscape architecture and their application in landscape design. In previous part, we discussed about natural elements of landscape, which are also known as primary landscape elements. Now we will talk about man-made elements of landscape or secondary landscape elements. Why do we call them man-made elements? Because over the period of time, these elements are developed based on the change, usage and lifestyle of humans. But all these elements are formed by combination of natural and artificial elements. Starting with the most common made landscape element, which is street furniture. If we say street furniture, it includes all objects and pieces of equipment installed along streets and roads for various purposes. Few common examples are benches, traffic barriers, bollards, post boxes, phone boxes, street lamps, traffic lights, traffic signs, bus stops, ramp stops, taxi stands, public lavatories, fountains, watering troughs, memorials, public sculptures, waste receptacles and many more. These furniture keep on changing and evolving with the time, and new furnitures keep on adding to the list as the social requirement changes. The design and placement of these furnitures is based on the few important design parameters like aesthetics, visual identity, function, pedestrian mobility and road safety. Street furniture with the time grows in the society and can become nations' identities similar to the local language and national events. It can become so deep part of the landscape that one can usually recognize the location by their design. Many famous examples of this around the world are the red telephone boxes and pillar boxes of Britain, the residential mailboxes of the United States, the street lights and metro entrances of Paris. Another secondary element in landscape is landscape walls. For a landscape project, most commonly used walls are retaining walls, green walls, walls for decoration or creating backgrounds. Let's start with retaining walls. Retaining walls are relatively rigid walls having more bearing capacity to hold pressure than normal walls. That's why they are used for supporting soil and its lateral pressure, so that it can be retained at different levels on the two sides. These walls are designed to hold the soil to a slope that it would not naturally keep, like a steep, near vertical or vertical slope. They are used to bound soils between two different elevations, often in areas of terrain possessing undesirable slopes, or in areas where the landscape needs to be shaped severely and engineered for more specific purposes like hillside farming or roadway overpasses. A retaining wall that retains soil on the back side and water on the front side is called a sea wall or a bulkhead. Retaining walls are also divided into mainly four broader categories: gravity, cantilevered, sheet piling, and anchored. We'll discuss those in detail in another video. Next type in landscape walls is green walls. A green wall is based on vertical greening concept, which are also known as living walls or vertical gardens. These walls or vertical gardens can be created by intentionally covering an already built structure vertically with vegetation. Green walls include a vertically applied growth medium such as soil, substitute substrate, or hydroculture felt. As well as an integrated hydration and fertigation delivery system. There are new applications of these walls in the urban areas like the flyovers columns, metro columns, and many other vertical structures around the polluted zones in urban areas, due to which the pollution levels can be controlled and air can be purified. Green facades and green walls are two different terminology. In green walls, the growth medium is supported on the vertical face of the host wall, while green facades have the growth medium only at the base, either in a container or as a ground bed. Green facades typically support climbing plants that climb up the vertical face of the host wall, while green walls can accommodate a variety of plant species. There are another type of walls which are only used for aesthetic purposes in landscape. We can call them decorative walls or featured walls or false walls as well. These walls can be used to enhance and decorate a water feature in the site. They can also be used to create a separate green wall when we don't want to use the host wall or the wall of the building. In that case, we can create a separate false wall for that. They can be high and low in height depending on the application. They can also be used to create segregation in spaces in the parks or other landscape areas. Similarly, there are many other applications of it. Another secondary element in landscape is pavement. In construction terms, it is an outdoor floor or superficial surface covering. Paving materials include asphalt, concrete, stones such as flagstone, cobblestone, sets, bricks, tiles, and sometimes wood. In landscape architecture, pavements are part of the hardscape and are used on sidewalks, road surface, patios, courtyards, etc. Pavement laid in patterns like mosaics were commonly used by the Romans. Pavements are done with the help of paver. Paver is a paving stone, tile, brick, or brick-like piece of concrete or any other suitable and durable material commonly used as exterior flooring. Most common examples nowadays is interlocking concrete pavers. This special type of paver, also known as a segmental paver, has emerged over the last couple of decades as a very popular alternative to brick, clay or concrete because it is highly durable, economical, low in maintenance and easy to install. A stone paver is another type of paver. This type of paver is used widely in building and landscaping as it is highly prized for beauty, strength and durability. Stone pavers are made of many materials including limestone, bluestone, basalt, sandstone, and granite. Another man-made element which has wider application in landscape is artificial turf or grass. It is a surface of synthetic fibers made to look like natural grass. It is most often used in arenas for sports that were originally or are normally played on grass. However, it is now being used on residential lawns and commercial applications as well. Main reason is maintenance. Artificial turf stands up to heavy use such as in sports and requires no irrigation or trimming. Domed, covered and partially covered stadiums may require artificial turf because of the difficulty of getting grass enough sunlight to stay healthy. Artificial turf does have its downside also, like limited life, periodic cleaning requirements, petroleum use, toxic chemicals from infill, and heightened health and safety concerns. Another interesting element is trellis. It is also known as trellis. It is an architectural structure usually made from an open framework or lattice of interwoven or intersecting pieces of wood, bamboo, or metal that is normally made to support and display climbing plants, especially shrubs. There are many types of trellis for different places and for different plants from agricultural types, especially in viticulture, which is cultivation or harvesting grapes, which are covered at wine training systems, to garden uses for climbers such as grapevines, clematis, ivy, and climbing roses or other support-based growing plants. Rose trellis is especially common in Europe and other rose growing areas, and many climbing rose varieties require a trellis to reach their potential as garden plants. Some plants will climb and wrap themselves around a trellis without much artificial help being needed, while others need training by passing the growing shoots through the trellis and tying them to the framework. These trellis have also become the part of our society as well. They are widely used now in the residential society, public spaces, public parks, for covered parkings, to cover the pathways and others. Another category of man-made elements is outdoor shading structure. These structures were developed with the time as the lifestyle of the people have changed during the years, like having dinners in open spaces, having tea and celebrating the occasions outside instead in an enclosed space, spending whole day in parks and other public spaces, due to which different shading structures are developed which are required when doing these activities in open spaces. First and most commonly seen are pergolas. These are freestanding structure with an open roof that is supported by columns or posts or can be cantilevered as well. A pergola may be used to cover a walkway or to provide filtered shade for an outdoor living space. The word pergola has came to be used interchangeably with patio cover. Next shading structure used widely is gazebo. These are freestanding octagonal structure with a solid pitch roof and open sides that provides full shade without obstructing views. It is common for gazebos to be screened in to provide a bug-free space for relaxing. Gazebos can be confused with pergolas. Next is ramada. These are also freestanding structure similar to a pergola, but with a closed roof. A ramada provides complete shade as well as protection from rain. The closed roof traps heat, which can be beneficial in colder weather. Ramadas are often placed over outdoor kitchens or near an outdoor fireplace. Some landscape professionals use the term pavilion. Another is pool house. These are freestanding enclosed structure which can include a kitchen, game room or even a spare bedroom for guests. These are used mostly in areas with inclement or cold weather. Also a great place for storing pool supplies and equipment. Next is arbor. It is kind of a small framework that supports climbing plants and serves as a passageway. Arbors are often arched and placed over a path or gate. Arbors are sometimes called pergolas or trellises as well. Another is greenhouse. Greenhouses are structures that create their own microclimate inside their walls. They are good for those who want to grow exotic plants or have homegrown food year-round. Another interesting man-made elements are landscape embellishments, or we can say a decorative detail or feature added to the landscape design to make it more attractive. Landscape embellishments are very wide and change according to the place, function, culture, society and many other parameters. From the ancient time till present, so many decorative features are developed to make landscape more eye-pleasing and attractive. I will show you a few examples which will include some trademark and famous decorative elements also and their applications in landscape design. They are also referred as garden ornaments. First one is bird bath. It is an artificial puddle or small shallow pond created with a water-filled basin in which birds may drink, bathe and cool themselves. Bird bath is an attraction for many different species of birds to visit gardens, especially during the summer and drought periods. Bird baths that provide a reliable source of water year-round add to the popularity and microhabitat support. Another is bird feeder. It is also known as bird table or tray feeder. They are devices placed outdoors to supply bird food to birds. Success of a bird feeder in attracting birds depends upon its placement and the kinds of foods offered, as different species have different preferences. Most bird feeders supply seeds or bird food such as millet, niger seed and rapeseed or canola seed to seed-eating birds. Bird feeders are frequently used for bird watching, and many people keep webcams trained on feeders where birds often congregate, with some even living just nearby the bird feeder. Next is nest box. It is also known as nesting box. It is a man-made enclosure provided for animals to nest in. Nest boxes are most frequently utilized for birds, in which case they are also called bird houses or a bird box. But some mammalian species such as bats may also use them. Placing nest boxes or roosting boxes may also be used to help maintain populations of particular species in an area. The nest box was invented by the British conservationist Charles Waterton in the early 19th century to encourage more bird life and wide flow on the nature reserve he set up on his estate. Another beautiful garden ornament is yard globe. It is also known as a garden globe, gazing ball, lawn ball, garden ball, gazing globe, mirror ball, chrome ball or orb. It is a mirrored sphere typically displayed on the top of a conical ceramic or wrought iron stand, and sometimes the grass, as a lawn ornament. Sizes ranges from 25 mm up to 10 meters in diameter, with the most popular gazing ball being 300 mm. Gazing balls were glass but can now be stainless steel, acrylic, ceramic or stained glass. Unlike hanging friendship balls or witch balls that have a loop, Gazing balls come in a variety, with some having a stem so they can securely sit in a stand, while others are more uniform in shape and can sit on grass. Large sizes can be made but prove difficult to place on the stand due to the weight of the globe. Another ornament is hanging basket. A hanging basket is a suspended container used for growing decorative plants. Typically, they are hung from buildings where garden space is at a premium and from street furniture for environmental enhancement. They may also be suspended from freestanding frames, sometimes called hanging basket trees. One type of hanging basket is the inverted planter, where plants are grown in an upside down pot and are watered from the top. Hanging baskets are normally made from wire with an impervious, usually plastic, lining to retain the contents. They are filled with peat-free compost, usually with a water-retaining gel, and controlled release fertilizer granules. Another important element, which is decorative and also plays a functional role in enhancing the landscape, is landscape light. Landscape lighting or garden lighting refers to the use of outdoor illumination of private gardens and public landscapes for the enhancement and purposes of safety, nighttime aesthetics, accessibility, security, recreation and sports, and social and event uses. The public landscape and gardens have been illuminated for as long as interior structures have, for beauty, security, circulation, and social occasions. Since ancient times, by firelight from wood, candles, and animal plant oil, fills in torches, scones, and lanterns. Since the 17th century introductions of new interior illumination fuels, the technology has then been used outdoors and in gardens. As systems were developed for power delivery, gas lighting of the 19th century and electrical light of the 20th century became part of exterior functioning and design. Next is outdoor fireplace. As the name states, it is a place for building fires outside of the home. Similar in construction to an indoor fireplace, an outdoor fireplace is usually added to a stone, brick, or concrete patio. It often consists of a firebox and a chimney. The firebox is typically constructed with a smoke shelf incorporated, although straight firebox designs are not uncommon since chimney draft is not always a concern for an outdoor fireplace. Another is garden sculpture. Predominant garden types in the ancient world were domestic gardens and the sacred gardens. Sculpture of gods and kings were placed in temple compounds, along with sacred lakes and sacred groves. It is not known whether the statues were placed in Greek domestic gardens, but the Romans transported a great many statues to Italy and placed them in gardens for ornamental reasons. When the Roman Empire became Christian, these statues were regarded as pagan and removed from sight. During the Renaissance, these same statues were excavated and replaced in gardens. Sculpture then became an aspect of art, and gardens have been a favored location for displaying outdoor works of art. Next is rain chain. Rain chains are alternatives to a downspout. They are widely used in Japan. Their purpose is largely decorative, to make a water feature out of the transport of rainwater from the guttering downwards to a drain or to a storage container for household usage. They can also be found on temples. Rain chains are typically either a series of metal cups chained together with a hole in the bottom of each, or chain links that span vertically. Rainwater runoff gets distributed from a rooftop gutter downward through the rain chain. Another common garden ornament is topiary. Topiary is the horticulture practice of training perennial plants by clipping the foliage and twigs of trees, shrubs, and subshrubs. To develop and maintain clearly defined shapes, whether geometric or fanciful. The term also refers to plants which have been shaped in this way. As an art form, it is a type of living sculpture. The word derives from the Latin word for an ornamental landscape gardener, Toparius, a creator of topia or places, a Greek word that Romans also applied to fictive indoor landscapes executed in fresco. These were some most commonly used man-made or secondary landscape elements in landscape design. The list is never ending because with the time, new elements are discovered and added due to design requirements, technology advancements, and change in needs of the society.